Hello, my name is Jake, and this is my channel, Jake It's Real. Here we will be discussing movies and some of the scripts I have written for movies. Today, I have for you guys a script for Spider-Man 4. I haven't come up with a name for it just yet, but I do have a lot of ideas for this and other. No Way Home kind of left the story off at like a clean slate that I think has a lot of potential. And I kind of want it to be like this is like a starting point of a new trilogy. And there are going to be a lot of characters that are introduced. I have an idea for 4, 5, 6, and even 7. So the main idea for Spider-Man 4 is that Spider-Man is still recovering from the events of No Way Home. He's lost all of his relationships and tries to connect with MJ and Ned in college, while also trying to be that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man to the city. In order to pay for his apartment rent, he has to work at the Daily Bugle under J. Jonah Jameson. About 30 minutes in the movie, Peter encounters a symbiote and they pair up. The symbiote feeds on Peter's negative emotions and causes him to lash out more, especially when he's crime fighting. He comes to the realization eventually that the symbiote has changed him for the worst when MJ and Ned dislike his new, more volatile personality. After using fire to reject the symbiote, he tries to spend more time with them and wants to restore everyone's faith in Spider-Man. People already distrusted him after the events of No Way Home, and more lost faith after his more violent vigilantism. The audience is introduced to a new Eddie Brock, who might still be played by Tom Hardy. He could be a variant of the one from the Sony movies. He also works at the Daily Bugle. He isn't necessarily evil, but he comes across as a bit full of himself when he talks to Peter. For an article, he called out a man he thought was a crook, but Spider-Man caught the real crook the next day, getting him fired. Right out of the comics. We see the rest of his life fall apart with his friends and family, and his anger and hatred towards Spider-Man growing. He meets the symbiote, and they immediately bond into Venom due to their mutual hatred of Spider-Man. Spider-Man and Venom first encounter each other in the middle of the movie and have a small fight while Peter is saving people from a burning building. Peter can tell it's the same symbiote from before, but it's grown stronger without him trying to hold it back. Peter can tell he's outmatched, but remembers how he discards the symbiote with the use of fire and lures Venom closer to the burning building in order to knock him into it. Venom barely escapes, and Spider-Man is distracted by the people he needs to save. After Peter helps to get everyone out of the building, the people watching start cheering for him. Peter is happy that for the first time in a while, he's considered a hero again. We cut back to Venom and Eddie in a dark alleyway plotting their next move. Eddie figures out that Venom previously bonded with Spider-Man due to them having the same powers, and asks if Venom knows Spider-Man's secret identity. Venom describes Peter until Eddie figures out who he is and goes to find him. Peter gets a confidence boost from seeing people in the news calling Spider-Man a hero again. And he heads to Ned and MJ when he's getting ready to text that they should meet up when he sees Eddie walking towards him. First, Peter and Eddie have some nice small talk before Eddie takes the conversation in a more serious direction. He tells Peter that he knows he's Spider-Man, but won't turn him in so he can fight Peter all by himself. Shoots out a tentacle and swipes Peter's phone during the conversation, proceeds to tell him that he'll hunt down Ned and MJ after seeing a text on where they're going to meet. Before Peter can respond, Eddie fully morphs into Venom and throws him across the street. While Peter's getting up, Venom quickly swings away and heads towards Ned and MJ. Peter gets a suit and has to go after him to warn them. The final fight is on several rooftops at night. Spider-Man tries to reason with Eddie. You can tell that Eddie isn't necessarily evil, but just a really sad and bitter man. Peter seems to strike a nerve, and Eddie almost doesn't want to fight, but he snaps and they start fighting. Spider-Man is more prepared this time, as it is revealed that he's a few of the Green Goblin's pumpkin bombs saved with him. It seems to be going well for Peter, but he doesn't realize that the symbiote has been building an immunity to fire. As the bombs start to have less of an effect, Venom manages to get the upper hand and is about to kill Spider-Man, but seeing Peter's mask torn off makes Eddie feel guilty about killing a kid. Throughout the movie, it shows that Eddie feels conflicted about what he wants to do. His anger is misplaced. A lot of his rage is worn off, and he starts to feel regret for what he's done. Peter helps to comfort him, and Eddie says he wants to leave New York and see if he can find a more heroic use for Venom. Ned and MJ didn't see Spider-Man's face in the fight, but they are both fine and continue to hang out with Peter after they recover from their experience. The movie ends with Spider-Man swinging around and getting along with people in the city as he swings by. This movie will have 2 post-credit scenes. The first shows Peter getting a call from Eddie in San Francisco, who states that he's become somewhat of a guardian for that city, but he might return to New York one day. The second shows crooks in a shading building of New York holding a hostage. While they're talking about how the Spider-Man's been more active recently, each of the goons is picked off one by an unknown figure, until only one is left. He comes face to face with the devil of Hell's Kitchen himself, Daredevil. That was my script, and I do like the direction it's going in, but I do have a few reservations with what I put. I think it might end a bit abruptly, and I'm not sure if it would be a good idea to have Venom as the villain, considering there is already one in the Sony universe. But I do like this story, and I'm excited to work on it more. And please let me guys know what you think. This is my first time making this video, and I would love some feedback. If you like it, please like and subscribe.